Hey guys, it's Charmise Idris here from Charmed Handmade, and today I decided to bring you guys along with me to make my very first perfume. As you may be able to tell from my channel, I like to make all types of cosmetics, soaps, candles, wax melts, a bunch of different stuff. So I decided to make this series of experiment with me, just to bring you guys along with me when I make something for either the first time or the first time in a very long time. And I will be showing you my triumphs, and I will also be showing you my failures. Just because that's a part of the process. And there are other types of videos I will be posting in this as well, and most of them will actually be over on Patreon on the Experiment With Me tier, so I will add that in the description below. But sometimes I will be posting on YouTube as well. Some of the videos will include like squeezable wax, different types of candles, different types of soap that I haven't ever made or never seen made and I just want to try it out, or like testing colorants, or I had another video where I tested how to thicken liquid soap. So all that type of stuff will be in that Experiment With Me tier. But like I said earlier, this video is just about me making perfume, so let's go ahead and get started in that. So this video came about because I was on the Makesy website looking for some candle jars and some fragrance oils. But then I saw the perfume maker's kit, which was $500. No, I do not have that here today. That was a little too rich for my blood at the time. And then they also have a starter kit. If you really want to get started in that, it's $190, I want to say. I also did not get that, but let me show you what I did get. So I ended up getting the luxury perfumer's alcohol from the website, and then at that same time I bought 3 different accords, which I'll get into what these are in a second. But I bought 3 different accords, and then I decided to make this video, so I bought 3 more. Basically, an accord is a blend of 2 or 3 raw materials or fragrance notes that can create a unique scent. Of course, before I decided to make my very first perfume, I did a lot of research. A lot of it came from, of course, YouTube University and the Makesy YouTube. I will put the playlist down below, but Esther from Makesy was very helpful in teaching about the products that they have there. And then I saw a bunch of other YouTubers as well, so I took notes and I'm going to bring them all to you today. Today I have 2 top accords. Those are Zesty Raspberry and Fresh Coconut. A top accord is basically the first one you notice when you spray the perfume, but it also fades the fastest. I also have 2 base accords. Those are Sexy Vetiver and Clean Musk. So the base accord or base note basically anchors the fragrance, and it is the one that lingers the longest. It could be up to 24 hours or 2 days. And in the middle of those 2, we have middle notes or hard accords. And the ones I have today are Fruity Vanilla and Juicy Peach. And your middle note or your hard accord will balance out the top note and the base note. Now, before I did my research, I would have straight up just opened all of these bottles up and just sniffed them and decided which ones I think should go together. But I know better now, so I'm going to do better. And so I have these, what are they called? Fragrance blotter strips. I got them off of Amazon, but I've also seen people use cotton rounds, but I'm going to use these today. So just a few minutes ago, I just took 6 strips and I labeled each with the name of an accord, and then I dipped that strip in the accord and put them in this beaker so that they can air out for just a few minutes before I start sniffing. And I made sure to keep them separate in the beaker just so that I can smell the scent as it is supposed to be. So I did not smell any of these before the video started, and I'm trying not to smell them now. That's why I keep pushing it away, because one time I went to go get some cologne for my husband and we were just smelling a bunch of stuff, and she said, well, after a while they're all going to smell like the same thing, because what I think is called olfactory fatigue. And if that's not the definition or the words, I will put the actual thing on the screen. So now I'm going to take a smell of these. I kind of already know which ones I want to use just based off of the name, but it could be a whole different smell. Oh, I really like that Fruity Vanilla. I'm gonna use that for something. The Fresh Coconut, I feel like could go with Fruity Vanilla, so I'm gonna try to smell them at the same time. No, I don't want that together. Sexy Vetiver is gonna be for something, because Sexy Vetiver, come on. That's more, it's kind of handsome, kind of strong, I guess. Zesty Raspberry is doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. I think this is the first one I added into my cart on Makesy. And then Juicy Peach was the second. So I really like Zesty Raspberry. And I really should have labeled the heart notes versus top notes, base notes, but I didn't. But I can see those, so that's fine. So I'm not gonna have you sit with me while I try to figure out which ones I like together, which is not those two. And then I'll add 3 at the same time, but I'm not gonna have you watch all of that because it's gonna be a while. So I'll get back to you in a second. All right, y'all, I finally figured out which scents I'll be using today. And contrary to what I said earlier, I will not be using the Sexy Vetiver Accord. It was a bit strong. I'll figure out how to do all that later, but for my first perfume, she gotta go. So I forgot to mention that when it comes to the scents or the accords, there's no real rules in mixing them together. So you don't have to do a top, heart, and a base every time. You can do a top and a base or a heart and a base. It's what you want. It's a scent that appeals to you. So the next thing we need to discuss is how many parts of each scent I will be using. So this is all experimentation, so you want to make sure you write down exactly what you do. And I am going to be using a scale so that if I want to replicate this one day, I can. So we're just going to start with my Zesty Raspberry, Clean Musk, and Fruity Vanilla mix. So I really like the raspberry. That's why it's in both of the ones that I'm making today. So we're going to do 10 parts, and each part is going to be a gram. So I'm going to try out 4 grams of raspberry, and then let's say 3 grams of vanilla, which leaves 3 grams of clean musk. No, I want to do 5 grams of raspberry. And so each scent needs to have its own pipette, which is why you see I have a couple here, because you don't want to taint the scent. Although I had already written out in grams how many of each accord I would be adding, I decided throughout the process to adjust that. So when I was adding the vanilla, I felt that 1 gram was strong enough, so I made sure that I marked that out and put 1 gram instead of what the original thing was. So just, of course, throughout the process, if you are changing what you already wrote, just make sure you update it. Also, I am doing this in 10 parts. Well, I'm starting when I write the recipe to do it in 10 parts, but as I adjust it, it doesn't end up equaling 10 parts, and that's perfectly fine with me. That was just the easy starting point to break it down into the grams. So you don't have to do 10 parts or 10 grams total. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of smelling in between and trying to mix it just a little bit just so I can smell as I go. All right, just gonna mix that up. Yeah. All right. Now, we didn't talk about the containers yet, but these are the containers I'll be using today. I got them from Amazon, so I think you just twist and pull. Yeah. They're 10 milliliters each. So I'm going to take all these out. And of course, I will add all of the links to the description below. Since they're 10 milliliter bottles, I'm just going to do 10 grams as the total. And so for the perfumer's alcohol, I will be using 70% and 30% fragrance oil. So in this case, since we're doing 10 grams, this is going to be 7 grams of perfumer's alcohol and 3 grams of my mixed fragrance. And I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to use a pipette. No matter how long it takes. Now let's move on to my raspberry peach coconut. I'm going to smell them again just to see what I want the strongest scent to be. All right, for this one, I do want the raspberry to be the smallest amount. Now I'm going to do the same process I did with the first perfume, but I'm going to speed it up because we already did that. I feel like that one's missing something. Could it be Sexy Vetiver that it's missing? Let's see. Now I'm just gonna smell these at the same time. No, it is not that. It is not that one. Maybe some vanilla. So this fragrance right here did not work out. You're going to see me adding a bunch of different scents or accords. And then I also decided at the end to try it with a fragrance oil that I like, and I felt that would complement it. It did complement it, but this fragrance just wasn't for me. It smelled more mature, if you know what I mean. It really wasn't my vibe. So I'm just going to take this one as a L. It wasn't a bad fragrance, but definitely not my speed. So the last one we're going to make today is actually a fragrance oil that I like as is out of the bottle. This is one of Makesy's top selling fragrance oils, or at the time that I bought it, it was. And so all I need to do is 30% of this and 70% of the perfumer's alcohol. Very quick, very easy. So if you have a fragrance that you really like Makesy has a lot of good fragrances, and then I know Nature's Garden has some good dupes of fragrances and some on their own as well. But if you have one you like, you don't have to mix things. You can just make sure that it is skin safe, see what the percent is that is skin safe, and do it that way with just the alcohol. I also want to add, after I recorded this video, I went on the bulk apothecary website to do my usual ordering, and I saw that they had a lot of perfume fragrance dupes on there as well. And then of course Brambleberry always has great fragrances. So I'm very happy that I came away with 2 perfumes today. I knew for sure I was going to have one just because of the fragrance oil. I did that on purpose so that, you know, I came away with something. But look, I also had another one. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm very excited about this perfume here. I'm going to let it sit for maybe 2 weeks to 4 weeks before I really truly evaluate it, but I did like the smell when, you know, I mixed it. So hopefully I still enjoy it later. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you want the smell to linger a little bit longer, you can buy something called Aroma Fix from Lotion Crafter. I have not tried that yet, but I've seen that it is highly recommended for perfumes to just last a longer time. So I'll add the link to that as well, but like I said, I have not tried that yet. And in another video, I do want to try a roll-on perfume, so with an oil, the same scents or new scents, but with an actual oil that I can roll on instead of a spray perfume. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see y'all in the next one.